What's up everyone, how's it going? My name is Daniel Francis. I'm the creator of the Master Your Stutter program where I help people master public speaking, speak with confidence and excellence and become the best version of themselves. In today's video, I'm gonna be reacting to Grant's YouTube video called The 5 Steps to Becoming a Millionaire, where he has his whole sales team. They're all dialed in listening to him. And I'm gonna break down why Grant is such a great public speaker, what he does, maybe the subtle things that maybe you might not notice. His team, and you'll see in the video, the whole team is engaged in what he has to say and they're listening to every single word. But there's a formula to what he's doing. I've done Grant Cardone University probably 3-4 times. There's a lot of videos and questions that you have to answer. So I've kind of understood the way Grant's brain works. And he's allowed me to become an amazing salesperson, manager, director, leader as a whole. So I'm super excited to kind of break this down, show you guys what I'm talking about, and give you an aspect of how I see it, so you can become a better communicator. And as well, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoy videos like this, be sure to click the like button down below. It helps with the algorithm, helps with this channel. And super curious to hear what you guys have to think. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
I'm getting ready to go in and do a meeting for my sales team. They're on the phone every day. They think I'm going in there to talk about sales. I'm going in there to talk about money, because if you don't have your money right, if you're not thinking about money correctly, guess what? You're never going to make a sale. You're never going to push through the objections and the barriers and the...
One of the biggest things with GC, this is why I love GC, he just like fires me up. Like the eye contact that he makes and the confidence that he portrays in the camera, like he loves being in the limelight. You can't not watch this guy and not get excited about life or fired up. So even just like right off the bat, there's a lot going on, but he's like dialed in. That's what makes him such a great speaker as a whole.
Ups and everything that goes on in sales. It's a disappointing job. It's a tough job. It's a crazy job. It's like being an actor. Okay? Why would anybody be an actor after they go on 100 auditions? Nobody ever picks them. They're like, I'm done. The only reason you want to do that is because you want to be a superstar. Okay, guys. So this is what I want to do. I want to talk to you about money today, not sales. All right. If you don't get the money right, you're not going to make the sale, period, okay?
Another thing, what I love about Grant Cardone is like the transition that he has from just like being very personal to like he just owns it of like, all right guys, let's get down to business. And just even having the credibility of everyone in the back, just like, that aspire to be like Grant, it just makes him a solid leader as a whole. I've read majority of his stuff. I've been through Cardone University many times. Grant just someone who leads by example. He owns his confidence, and he just shows up. I love it. I love it so much.
$1 million. Peter Thiel, $2.8 billion. Peter Thiel said the single-digit millionaire. You know what that means? Guy with $1 million, or 2, or 3, or 4, cannot even provide his family with proper defense, legal defense in America. Much less.
One thing that Grant has that makes him a great public speaker as a whole is he looks at everyone in the room. Like you could tell he's looking at his key players. And what that kind of does, like when you have a room of, let's say, I think there's probably about 40, 50 people in that room, like, potentially paying attention, maybe it's 20. But what he does is he chooses the key players that he knows are really engaged and he focuses on them. So first off, he scans the whole room, but then he finds the key players and he locks eyes with all of them. And what that does is it gets everyone kind of engaged. If he like focuses on the person who's like, maybe like shy or doesn't have as much confidence, he might not focus on that person. But like a Steve Spray, for example, or a Todd in his office, he's looking at them, they're hyping him up, and he's just scanning the whole room. That's what makes him a great, phenomenal leader and public speaker as a whole. So when he shows up, everyone's like, damn, here we go.
Emergencies, divorces, major lawsuits, business lawsuits, issues happening, 2 kids going to college. So what he's saying is this, okay? It became a very, very controversial article because he's like, rich dude scratching fingers on the chalkboard, the slides, okay, is saying, hey man, if you got $1 million, you're basically just a freaking deadbeat.
So I got so much, and I just kind of want to get it off the bat. One thing about Grant, like even the way he's smiling right now, like that's such a great smile. I love it. But another big thing is even the way he dresses just clean and cut. Like the haircut, I guarantee he probably gets a cut every 2 weeks, every week, or max every 3 weeks. He's got his white shirt. It's kind of just popping out. And yeah, you just tell like he's a boss. He's the guy in the room. He's the big boy in charge. The way he smiles, the white shirt with the collar, right? With his beard and hair. Love it.
Okay. Now you're saving $12,000 a month. That's $144,000 in 1 year. In 10 years, that's $1.4 million. In 10 years, you're a millionaire stored. Okay. So second thing to do, you gotta keep playing this 40% game. Todd, you need to work with your guys on, dude, where's your money at? Not on what the call is, not on what the script is, not on what how to handle the objection. You need all that, but dude, you need the driver here. You guys need to be heavily money motivated from a survival standpoint. Okay?
Another big thing I love about Grant, he fires me up, is like the drive and the look in his eyes. Naturally, if you just spend time listening to him, you will naturally become motivated. And Grant has, the concept that he teaches and many others, like the edutainment concept. So he comes in, he's got the big smile. What's up, guys? We're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about success. We're going to be talking about boom, 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 how to hit $1 million. And now and he's almost like fun and light, but he's got that serious tone. And now midway through the video, you could tell like he's like, I'm not messing around now. He's like, Todd, boom, boom, boom. Make sure you call out your guys. What do you want to make? What numbers you want to hit, right? Like you just tell like the focus and the communication behind what he's saying and the belief and the conviction is there. And that's why everyone's dialed in. That's why like when Grant goes into a sales office, he can just light people up because he's there, he's fun at times, but then he's also got that, I'm not here to mess around either. Hit your numbers. Get serious. We're talking about money. And he's not scared to talk about money. We live in this world where people are scared to talk about money. Where Grant, I think, has that personality of like, where's your money at? Where's your money at, bro? That's why I love Grant.
Okay, number 3 thing you're going to do. You're going to go broke right here and invest the storage. Storage has to get invested. The golden goose is only good if she lays eggs. Otherwise, you can kill her. Eat her for a chicken. Need eggs. Money needs to make babies, right? So
a great speaker doesn't talk in the same tone. So when you talk in the same tonality throughout the whole time, like when I was in university, there'd be professors and they just talk in the same tone over and over. And that's why half the people in the lecture hall are passed out. One thing about Grant, and this is just to being a good salesperson and a good public speaker and just a good leader as a whole, you gotta have the mix of tonality. So one of the concepts that I teach is the 7-38-55 rule. So communication's broken up into 3 things. 7% of communication is the words you say, 38% is the tonality, and 55% is the body language. So a great speaker, if we just take the 38%, the tonality, Grant has great tonality. So something that he just said, something about the goose, he goes, da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Whereas before, he's talking like this, and you got to get your money right, and you got to go broke, and you got to understand, and you got to get out of your way. And then the golden goose lays the egg. Hey, Todd, boom. And so he has these inflections in his voice that keeps everyone engaged. So he can be low, but then he can also be high. And that's how you keep an audience's attention. They all work for Grant, so everyone should be listening, right? But what keeps the actual team focused on him is that aspect of him of he just doesn't just, oh, he's the boss, so we should all pay attention. He's got the skills of keeping everyone's attention based on, for what we're just talking about right now, the tonality. That high and that low. That focused voice and that cheerful voice. Come on, man. Come on, I'm Grant. Let's get it, baby. He's got that mix. That's what makes Grant a really, really good speaker. Now, another thing, even like the little jokes he has, if you watch his full video, he's always just cracking jokes. He'll have like little subtle jokes he'll throw in there. Like, to make babies, you got to make babies, man. You need some money to make some babies. So he's got that serious voice to him, but he's also cracking little jokes on the side to keep everyone's attention. He's not just like, guys, man up, like enough's enough. That only lasts for so long. It's temporary. But if you want to keep it, like this video is 30 plus minutes, everyone's taking notes, everyone's engaged, no one's yawning. It's because he's got the mix of both. Let's keep going.
If you look at where villages are on this planet, they're all where there's transportation routes. The bigger the transportation route, the bigger the stuff moving up and down the Nile. Oh, let's put a village here because there's food stopping here, gas stopping here, right? These are the valuable ports. Why? Because all the waterways meet there. So at this company, I could be on the call forever, making one call. It's one line, right? It's one little fiber optic line. Or you could start looking around and saying, dude, where's all the other flows here?
Two things. One big thing is, now Grant's Italian. It's probably why I got some affinity for him. No, I'm kidding. But one thing I love about Grant is, as Italians, we use our hands. We're very animated. You can tell, like he's tinkering here. Planets, boom over there. You know what I mean? Like he's very animated with his hands. There's no issue with this. Like using your hands to explain yourself. It's the audio, but it's also the visual, right? So when I was knocking doors back in the day, that was one of the biggest things. Hey guys, not sure if you guys know what's going on in the area, but we've actually upgraded all the fiber optic lines in the area. And I'm pointing to where? No clue. But when I knocked on someone's door, you could tell the person I'm talking to is like, where? So doing that, it gets them engaged. So when Grant is moving his hands, he doesn't have his hands in his pocket. Sometimes he puts his hands in his pocket, but he moves them to keep everyone engaged. And that's what makes Grant a really good public speaker. Another thing he does is the pauses. So Grant will do this very subtly, but he'll say a point that really matters to him and that he knows that he needs that point to sink in their heads. So what he'll do is he'll say something and then he'll be like, right? And as he's doing that, he's thinking about another point, but he's making sure it's digesting in them. Like watch, I'll do it right now. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Right? They'll do things like that to just make sure the audience is engaged. Because a bad speaker will just keep talking the whole time. Just try to like run through their whole speech. And you lose people's attention. Because it's not sticking with them. It's not sitting with them. They're not connecting to it because they just feel like you're just kind of running through it. So Grant has that passion in his eyes and his voice and his hands and the way he speaks and the way he smiles and the way he knows people's names in the audience. That's what makes him a great leader. Another thing, I'm sure the camera crew set that up, but making sure that everyone's like engaged in the back. They're like, and taking notes. And that's one of the things I've been in. I was part of Grant Cardone Canada, the office in BC, and they mimicked a lot of how the Cardone office in Miami is. And even just everyone having a notebook out, like it's like, dude, I'm the leader in the room. If I'm talking. Right? And you can't be an asshole about it, but that's what a good leader is. Hey, I got expectations for everyone. Show up. Where's your notebook at? Right? And what that does, it creates great team culture. It's not like one guy has a notebook out, one guy's like, nah, I'm not taking notes. Grant has no time for that. So it makes him a really good leader and naturally a great public speaker. We'll watch a couple more clips.
But you're not going to do any of that until you get great at what you do. You got to get great at this first thing. Keep the target in mind. Okay. See if you can keep it. Maybe you can't. Maybe you just lose the motivation. You're like, I can't do this. And then you just get recycled into the universe of people that are worried every day. And that's the reality of the situation. That's what Peter Thiel was saying. A single-digit millionaire cannot even provide themselves with their own personal defense in America. Okay? Hulk Hogan, all that money Hulk Hogan made, he blew it all. He blew it all, probably buying hair pieces.
It's a joke.
Okay? He blew it all. He blew it all. Ended up with a little money, thought he was the shit. Oh man, I got a little money, until he had that freaking lawsuit, and then he can't even defend himself. Peter Thiel funded that lawsuit for him.
Love this.
Right? So I had a lawsuit back in 2009. It cost me $200,000
Vulnerable.
a month.
He's being
to
honest.
defend
He's being open.
Again.
That's another thing about a great speaker. They're vulnerable. Like he just talked about how he went through a lawsuit. Hulk Hogan went through a lawsuit. Hey, I went through a lawsuit too. So he's not coming from this place of I'm cocky and I'm better than you. Like I'm going through stuff as well. And because that he touches hearts. This guy's a legit guy. This guy's a genuine, real person. Love Grant.
It's a criminal lawsuit. A guy that sued me trying to get money from me to holding me hostage. That's the game in the legal thing. It wasn't a car accident. It wasn't cancer. It wasn't my mom getting sick. It wasn't kids. I didn't have kids yet, you know. So all those things can happen too. They're probably going to happen to you.
Grant, I got a question.
Yeah.
How do you balance the paying the debt, whether it be school loans, credit cards?
That's how you know you got a good speech. That's how you know you got a good training. When 21 minutes in, and you can tell there's people in the back. They're just, I gotta ask a guy a question. I got a question. That means everyone's engaged, and you're taking your time with the training. That people are like, damn, I love this. I'm so engaged in what he's saying. I got a question, and Grant wants that, because if you're not paying attention, and someone asks a question, they're asking themselves, damn, this is actually really good. People are so engaged, they're asking questions, right? So if you ever do any public, if you're a sales manager, if you're a leader, if you're, even whatever position you're in, and you're in a meeting with your colleagues, and people naturally start asking you questions, that is a great indicator that what you're talking about, you got everyone's attention, or you got most people's attention, or it's so good that they want to hear more of what you have to say. It's a huge thing. You're not going to get it every single time. Each audience is different. Like this is the caveat to it. Each audience is different. Like he's with his salespeople who are fired up, who are living a 10x lifestyle. So they're sold on Grant, and they want to pick his brain, right? So you might not get that with every single audience. But if people start asking you questions as you are doing a training, which a great speaker allows that, right? The worst thing you could do to cancel to hurt the flow is like, no, man, no questions right now. Unless you're really getting a good point out and you're like, listen, just let me explain this first. But a great speaker goes, yeah, hit me. What question you got? I love this. Because it's not this like, I got to script everything. Oh, I got to make sure I hit every single point. Grant's not thinking like that. Grant, guaranteed. He's like, look, he probably, now Grant lives in this world of like business and becoming a millionaire. And I'm pretty sure Grant's a billionaire now with all the real estate that he has. But, Grant guarantee goes, okay, so let me just think of main points I want to cover of the, literally it says 5 steps to becoming a millionaire. So what Grant probably did, he's like, okay, so what are the 5 points I really want to cover? Let me have a couple examples and stories, and let me just prepare them, and I'll just write them on the board. And then I'll let the flow happen. That's what makes such a great speaker. Like for me, I didn't watch this video. I haven't watched this video in probably a while. I saw this back in the day, probably a couple of years, to be honest. But I want that like genuine reaction of myself. Not this, I got a script of how I'm gonna pause at 21:15 and talk about this point. Sometimes you can, because you'll kind of ramble. But that genuine response is what makes you a good speaker. Sometimes you got to ramble a little bit, as long as it's controlled. But yes, it's my 2 cents. Let's watch a little bit more.
Think about that. A bank will lend me money to buy a piece of property, but they will not lend me money to buy Bitcoin. They won't even lend me money to buy a Bank of America stock. So what do they believe in? Cash flow, man. They believe in cash flow. Cash flow, that any asset that generates cash flow into the future is going to be worth more money. So what do I invest in? Y'all see where I'm putting all my money. That's all I talk about all the time, because I know it's going to be there.
Last thing, one of the best things that Grant does, and this is a number one rule in sales, is the person who's asking the question controls the conversation. So if you're with a client, it's an amateur salesperson will just do talking all day long and just think, if I talk so much, naturally someone will say yes. It's the wrong way of looking at it. Grant teaches this too, but you got to be asking questions. So even as he's public speaking and training everyone, he's asking the whole room questions. You guys understand what I'm saying? Right? Where do you think I invest my money? Crypto, Bitcoin? Nah, man, real estate. You guys see what I'm doing. Y'all see where I spend my money. Y'all see where Jared puts his money. That's it. Why do you think Bank of America doesn't allow you to invest into crypto or whatever he said? All right? He's asking them questions so they can think about it. What is he saying? Right? It's almost like, do you guys understand what I'm saying? Do you guys understand what I'm teaching here? And what that does is the audience is now thinking about it in their head, and that gets them engaged. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on this whole video. I mean, we could obviously watch more. Grant's been a great mentor of mine over the years. He's got this. Without Grant, I don't think I would be who I am today. Whether it's a sales training, how to pitch, how to present, how to close, how to get the deal done, how to understand body language and read people. Grant is a master at this. That's why he's got a whole room just like, boom, engaged. But just overall, what makes Grant amazing is he's got 2 traits of him that are very attractive. That fun, smiling, cracking jokes. Come on, man. But he's also got that, I'm serious. It's about business. It's about money. It's about making it happen. And that's what makes him a closer. That's why he's been so successful. Like the fact that Grant's a billionaire is ridiculous. But he's got that aspect of him that is attractive. So that's my 2 cents. I'd highly recommend watching this video. It's got about 6 million views. Grant's the man. Curious to hear what you guys have to say. Curious how you responded to my reaction. I want to hear your reaction down below. Do you think Grant's a good speaker? Do you think Grant is a good leader? Is a good trainer? Do you think this is all fake? Do you think they're all paid actors down below? Curious to hear what you guys think. But I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.